Trevon Diggs came out on social media and tweeted, "I've always wanted to play on the same team as my brother." And of course, his brother, Stefon, is looking for his new contract with the Buffalo Bills. And I was like, Trevon, not cool. Not cool. Because you got to specify whether you're talking about going to Buffalo or getting him here. And then, Bobby, he did follow it up saying 14 to Dallas would be fire. So that made me back off of Trevon and become a little bit less worried about the Diggs boys teaming up in the AFC East versus here.
Isn't it, like, we were trying to figure this out over the weekend. Isn't that tampering? Like, we were just talking about, like, DallasCowboys.com can't even write an article about Earl Thomas.
Yeah.
But you're like, bring my brother, and I get their family. But, like, remember, Dante Bichette had to, like, quit the Blue Jays organization during the lockout because he couldn't work with his son. And it didn't matter that it was his son. It still applied. The rules apply. And so it just makes me wonder, like, not that they'd enforce it, but it makes me wonder if, like, it would fit the definition.
I don't believe player tampering should exist at all.
Probably not.
It's better for sports. It's better for the leagues when you got guys trying to recruit other ones. I think it creates more discussion and Madden-like trade scenarios, and it's fun to think about. It's just fun. Don't zap the fun out of it. Now, if you're an executive doing it, making illegal phone calls, that's different. But players recruiting other players, it lets us know who's cool with each other, maybe who's not cool with each other. But there's Trevon Diggs trying to recruit Stefon Diggs. And some tollers like, what would you do? Would you do it? Would you play around with the idea? No.
You wouldn't?
This team has other needs. And
sure.
I'm not giving up.
Receivers deep in the draft.
I'm not giving up what it would cost to go get Stefon Diggs.
What do you think it would cost? I mean, you'd have to pay him after you get him.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly.
And you'd have to pay. Is Stefon Diggs better than Amari Cooper?
Yeah. I think so.
Okay.
At this point, I do.
And you know Stefon wants Tyreek money, too.
Probably close to it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're definitely
But
paying
you've got
him.
a ton of cap space. What are you doing with it right now?
Well, you're definitely going to have to pay him over 20. He's 28 years old. I'll agree with you that he's better than Amari, but you just got rid of... I mean, he's not that much better than Amari.
Is it Devontae Adams' asking price? Is it you have to, if you're going to pay him, do you also then go, well, since you're paying, it's payment and a first and a second? Or is it closer to Tyreek where it's like first, second,
No,
fourth?
it's Devontae.
You think Cowboys have to get up like a 1 and a 2 this year? You wouldn't do that?
No. Hell no. I have my receivers. I'm good. I got to wait and see, but I'm fine and set with my 1 and 2 and my tight end that I just franchised for some reason. No, I'm not going to get Stefon Diggs. Would you?
I mean, depending on the compensation, obviously. Like if they would be
Let's
willing
say
to
it's
give
a
up
first and a third.
a first and third this year, or like a first this year and a third next year.
Whatever you want.
A
first and a third, and you got to pay him 24.
Sure.
Wow.
I mean, he's really good.
He is really good.
And Robert Prince, the new receivers coach, his big thing is route runners. He wants like really clean technicians. I know. I know what they just gave up, Sean. I know. And that's Stefon Diggs, though. Stefon Diggs is a really great route runner. This is a guy who has like 230 receptions over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
He's a monster. I think him out there with Gallup, and if you're potentially going to use a first-round pick on a receiver, which you might, then just go ahead, use it on Diggs.
If they sat there and do you know that I can hear RJ Choppy from Cabo screaming about team building, and he would be absolutely right. You give up Amari Cooper under 3 years of team control at 20 per versus trading him for a fifth, giving up a first, second, or a third together, and then paying a guy Devontae money at the age of 28, Bobby, that would be insanely stupid team building when you already got your other guy under contract and he's either even or a little bit worse than the guy in Buffalo.
But it was stupid. You didn't want to give up Amari Cooper anyway. Like, I don't think anybody wanted to other than the Cowboys. And so if they just view it as a better culture fit, and they view it as a guy who's not starting to fall off the way they felt like Amari Cooper was, then they may view it as he's a better option and that he's not just a little bit better. I mean, look, they probably wouldn't do it. I think they've got a lot of holes. I think that
Buffalo would never do it.
Probably not. Josh Allen replied to the tweet where it's like, what would you do? Like, Bleacher Report was like, oh, Stefon Diggs to Dallas, what do you think? And Josh Allen replied to it and just said no on Twitter.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going anywhere. But, I mean, we've seen if he's unhappy, if Trevon knows he's unhappy or whatever else, we've seen like it wasn't always the case in the NFL. This was more something you'd see in NBA or MLB where players could kind of force their way out. We've seen players start to gain more power to dictate where they want to go in the NFL, which is unusual.
So Diggs has 2 for 27 left. So 13 and a half a year. That part he's not happy about. That part he's like, you better rip that thing up, and you might need to pay me 27 a year, not 27 over 2. So let's see what they do in Buffalo. Their general manager came out and said, I don't see the contract being an issue. So that's never going to happen, but hell no, I wouldn't want the Cowboys to make this trade.
Well, here, and you got to think, what do they value him at? Like, I know for a fact last year, this is something I heard, last year that before the season started, Buffalo got offered a third for Cole Beasley from Washington, and they turned it down. And so if they wouldn't take a third for Cole Beasley, a guy they moved on from a year ago, they're going to want a bigger return than probably a first and a third on
Plus,
Diggs.
they're all in. They're in all-in mode. All right, you don't go and pay Von Miller that money and then trade Stefon Diggs, who's definitely your number one receiver, despite what Bassick was trying to argue when the season was going on.